Hi guys, it's time for another top 3 video, but this time we got a little twist. It's going to be the 3 worst cards in Chaos Legion. You might not be using these cards already, but if you are, we're going to be telling you why you don't want to be using them. And yeah, remember to like the video and subscribe for more play-turned content, and let's get into these cards. Like always with these videos, we have an honorable mention card, and for this one it's going to be General Salon. And it's the first worst card we're going to talk about, and considering it's a summoner, there's not much stats we can break down here. So let's get into the pros and cons of General Salon, as we all know this card is very, let's call it mid. So let's get into the pros and cons of General Salon. And with the pros, like because these are the worst cards in Chaos Legion, there's not going to be many pros. And for General Salon, it's kind of really just, he powers up range cards and he combos well with Life, considering Life has quite a few range cards, but considering how new cards have been introduced since Chaos Legion, I feel like Life is a bit more diverse now, and I feel like Red is more like the king of having range cards now. When it comes to cons with General Salon, yeah, he only powers up range cards, and you only really use one range card in a team at the back. And when it comes to like range only rule types, he's hardly ever used, and considering with Life he already has a counter for him with the Riftwatcher Summoner, it's kind of in a weird limbo where in times where you can play him, you got a better choice card, and it's at the same mana, and it's kind of like you're in a catch-22. He's just going to be another summoner that's never going to be used in Wild once he gets in there, and there's just so many better cards to play, and all round he's just kind of meh, and there's not much really choice you can really put him in, because range is very selective in itself, because range ain't necessarily the best damage type, so General Salon is not going to necessarily be the best summoner either. When it comes to rule types though, the good ones are definitely going to be range only and target practice, considering with target practice all the range cards get sniped and you can power them up and go with a range oriented team. But when it comes to bad rule types, it's obviously return fire, and it's kind of funny how the Life Summoner also has return fire, and that's the reason why it's kind of meh. And another one's going to be keep your distance, considering if someone goes with Obsidian and you go with General Salon, you more or less are going to lose, considering once your range cards get in first position, that's not going to be able to attack. And that's definitely the deficit of range cards, they can't attack, and this is why I had to put General Salon in here, because he's definitely a kind of like a weird card in the game, because he can't really serve the purpose he was put in there, because range is definitely just a situational damage type, and powering up that is just not really great. So let's get into his top 3, and for number 3 we have Radiant Scorcher, and he starts off with nothing at the beginning, and then later down the line when you get to near max bonds level it gets Shatter, which is a great ability, and especially considering it's in the red splinter, there's a lot of shields when it comes to the tanks and some of the other monsters as well, so it's definitely going to be a good ability in that splinter there. So let's get into the pros and cons and why it's in the top 3 worst card in Chaos Legion, even though I'm saying some of the benefits. So let's break down Radiant Scorcher and start with the pros. Shatter is a great ability in the mirror match. Like I said in the previous clip, Red has so many shields when it comes to tanks. If you think about the Forgotten One and Grum especially, because Grum has void shields and it's harder to get around, and Shatter just deletes them all, and it's great there. And when it can attack from the back line, it can counter summoners like Kelios, and it can slowly help you get through the team. And it's a great throwing card, considering it's only 1 mana, you can throw it at the back for a sneak target, and it can live at maybe 1 attack. And it's pretty fast, so even if you put it at the back like I said, it might be able to dodge 1 ability or 2. When it comes to the cons of Radiant Scorcher, it's prone to getting hit with opportunity, considering how low life it is, and it's only good when it can attack from the back line, so when you do throw it in for them rule types there, it's definitely going to maybe attack once. Considering it's got some speed, it could get the attack out, but it's definitely not going to survive more than the first round. And there's better 1 mana cards. If you look at like the whole collection of like Modern, for example, there's definitely better 1 mana cards that you can put in there, and it doesn't get any more abilities. And when we, like I said, when we look at other 1 mana cards, they have more abilities, and it gives it more usages there, and you can't just rely on Maximizer for playing a card really. That's why it's in this video now, because it's not a great card, and even in the ones in Chaos Legion, it's not in the top tier there. But when it comes to the rule types of Radiant Scorcher, Some of the good ones are definitely going to be Maximizer, considering it's got a shatter. If you put it on the front line, it could definitely help you take out the tank before you put your second tank in or anything else you want. And Super Sneak's another one, because like I said, if it can attack from anywhere, it's great. But let's get into the bad rule type so I can give you the counterpart. Because Opportunity is going to be a hard thing for it to get around considering it's live. And obviously, like I said, it's great when it can attack from the back line, but it's prone to us getting hit. And it can't survive much damage, so flying and poison is definitely going to be a deficit for this card. And considering it's also a throwing card, you want it to serve somewhat of a purpose before it dies, and then rule types there could kill it before it even gets touched. And that's why it's in here now, because if you compare it to like the water 1 mana card, at least it's got a shield so it can survive 2 turns, and then it can like survive a flying earthquake damage as well. But this is number 3, and we've got 2 more cards to get to, so let's get into number 2. So let's break down the second worst card in Chaos Legion, Soul Strangler. They don't get an ability all the way till max level, which is Diamond and Champion. Let's break down the pros, the cons, and why you might want to use it, but at the same time, I'll be talking about it from all ranks, not at max. Because at max is cool, but that's a situation in itself, because some people in bronze, silver, and gold, and you don't get that until Diamond and Champs. So let's get into why you might not want to use Soul Strangler. But let's get into the pros first. It's a high damage card for 3 mana. If you really think about it, 3 mana cards range between 1 to 2 damage, and it does pretty well in that department there. And it's good at low mana games. Considering Death has a pretty great lineup for low mana when you think about that, the life sappers and stuff like that. So it can fit in quite well there just at the back for a little bit of damage. But let's get into the extensive cons of this card. It does not get an ability until max level. So in reality, it's a back to basics card until you get to Diamond and Champs. And for me, that means it's not at its full power or have any real power until then. It can definitely be thrown in, but at the same time, it won't have its like maximum power. And even so, when it gets its maximum power, is it great? For me, not really, because Poison is great and all, but you can get it from other things, and considering you got Walker if you want to, and even though Walker is not a great card in itself, you can definitely get Poison on the board any other way than using a Soul Strangler, for example. And it's a slow range card, and slow damage is not great, and because it's just going to miss, and the minute it gets to first position it can't attack. There's so many reasons why you don't want to be using range cards, and this is going to be one of the ones you want to stay away from the most. And the thing is, once Rebellion comes out and they bring out new cards, it's just going to fall more and more in the back. And for me, you might as well just leave this card now. But until Rebellion comes out, let's talk about some of the good rule types you may want to play this card in if you do have it. Little League is going to be one of them because Death has a pretty good lineup, but at the same time, you end up wanting to go with green or blue because they have the better Little League lineups. And you can use it in range only, but at the same time, do you use Death in range only? Not really. Considering the mana you want to use for the Death range cards, it's not going to fall in that lineup at all. And some of the bad rule types for this card is definitely going to be Return Fire, considering it can't take that much damage, and Target Practice as well for the exact same reason, because the health is pretty low on this card and you don't have any defense at all because there's no abilities until max. And another one's going to be Keep Your Distance, considering magic cards are going to overpower it at any time. And I feel maybe in Rebellion we might get some more sneak magic cards, considering we don't have many of them, and I feel with Splinterlands we don't have many of a certain ability of cards, they're going to pour that in. But we talked about some of the worst cards in Chaos Legion, let's talk about the worst card in Chaos Legion. So let's talk about the worst card in Chaos Legion, and I feel like all of you guys knew that it'd be a recharge card somewhere, and for me it's got to be Temple Master. It starts with the famous ability Recharge, which we all hate. Apart from it on Uriel, Uriel for me is a great card, I feel like it's going to be better down the line. But Recharge we're also 50-50 about, considering you can't attack in the first round. But later down the line it gets stun, and for me you want your stun to be quick and rapid, and you don't want to wait for it in the second turn. And considering how slow it is, but wait, I won't break it down now, let me get into the breakdown and tell you why this is the worst Chaos Legion card. So let's break down the worst card in Chaos Legion, Temple Master. But let's talk about some of the few pros that it has. It does 6 damage in silver and up with recharge. And it can stun a monster. Can. Can is in bold, italics, underline. It can. It might not though. And let's get into the real meat of it all, the cons. The stun is useless. Like in reality, if it happens, great. But it's so slow and you gotta wait a turn, so you're basically waiting a whole 2 turns before stunning someone. And then the stun will be great for the 3rd turn, so it's basically pointless there. And there's so many better choices at 3 mana if you really think about it. And like in the 3 mana category, we've got so many great sneak cards, and it's just not going to be played much at all. And slow and recharge, I want to bring that point up more, where recharge, you kind of want it quick, so at least like it'll be like the first attack in the 2nd round at least, but like with Uriel for example. But this card is definitely not going to be doing that. And it can just die before it can even get the opportunity out. That's the thing that's going to hurt it. Like that's the thing, it's so slow, it can die to like opportunity or sneak or scatter shot or anything random hitting it at all before it even does the recharge. And with the recharge tank, that's always the annoying thing, when it dies before it attacks. So with this card here, it's going to be a bigger problem there. And phase is going to be its worst enemy in the world. And considering we have a summoner now and it's dragon, like it can happen so many times. And if there's a way for like recharge to somehow attack from the 1st turn, it still won't be played then, because the any form of phase would absolutely destroy this card. It will never hit because of 2 speed. We see it with phase with green, with like the Goblin Sidekick and like Dr. Blight and stuff like that. Phase is good because obviously magic can miss, and it can win games sometimes. If you look at like the reward card in blue, the legendary one, like that card is so great as a tank because of the phase, and this card is so slow at magic. And with all that said, it will never get used. The minute Rebellion comes out, this will be phased out so quickly because we have so many cards to choose from, and this will definitely not be one of them. But when you're talking about some good rule types for this card, the only one I can really think about is Knockout, considering it's got stun. But at the same time, will it live long enough? And when we really get deep into like the bad rule types of this card, like if you get your ones out considering it's magic, it will lose there considering Immortalist is out there. People can take minus magic like Goblin Sidekick, and the card might not even do any damage in the long run. And another one's going to be Opportunity, because like I said, yeah, this card could possibly die before it even gets the attack out. And if every card can do it, boy, this card's not living at all. Another one's going to be Target Practice, because if a random scatter shot hits this card, you're not going to get your recharge out, and it's just going to be a waste of mana when you could have just played Stitch Leech instead, for example, or the neutral sneak card. Like, there's so many 3 mana cards. 3 mana is such a juicy card pool. And this card is definitely right at the bottom, and I can't really think of any like positive reasons for this card at all, and that's why it's the worst one for me. But in the comments below, please tell me like the 3 cards you think are the worst in Chaos Legion, and let me know if you agree with my choices. And remember to like the video and subscribe for more Playtime content, and we're gonna see you guys next time.